if Arsenal want to change the narrative, they've got to win trophies. Trophies, more than one. Yes, they've got to win more than one trophy. This season, 25-26 Premier League season. I say that because there is a narrative on this team from rival fans, even sometimes a bit of pundits, right? About them being unbearable, unwatchable. I think the criticism is not 100% true because the eye test, I think, will show majority of games Arsenal have won from outfield play. Goals scored from outfield play. And obviously people, you can say it's a bit of banter, but at the same time, there are people that actually say this. Oh, there'll be the league winners who weren't the best on the eye. But all that matters is winning. When you're at the top level, if you've watched football over the years, all that matters is winning. When Mourinho won, no one questioned his style of football when he won. But initially it was questioned. Boring. They had a lot of park the bus moments. But they had killers in that team that can kill you at any moment. So having that ability to just win and get over the line and have moments where the best players step up in those moments is what you need. That will quiet down the noise. And as I look at Arsenal, I look at it from all those years ago when Arsene Wenger first came. He first came and people questioned it. Media were, in my opinion, disrespectful. Arsene who? That was the headline. Those were some of the things like, who is this guy? He came from a team called Grand Passé in Japan. Who is he? How is he going to come into this team and do what's required in this league? Where it's physical, it got to a point where we know the history. We know where Wenger is in terms of his legacy. It got to that point where he had to just prove people wrong, or he had to shut people up by winning trophies. He was known as bringing foreign imports and making them world beaters. People who were unknown most of the time became world beaters under him. So that's all that's required. Winning. Yes, he done it in a way that was considered stylish, but at the end of the day, he won. And that's all that matters. So I'm basically saying, based on how Arsenal are perceived at this moment and based on how Arsenal have progressed since Arteta has come, they've got to win. They've got to win. Statistically, it's said that they have faced more low blocks over 3 seasons than any other team. There's been questions about, but Arsenal don't play, like I said, in a way that's attractive. It's not easy to do that when you don't have 2 people coming to the table to say, okay, this is what we're going to do against each other. When you have one person trying to initiate it, it's going to be difficult. It's like a boxer fighting a fighter that's just a counterpuncher, where he's just picking you off. Every time you move, he picks you off. A lot of people will be like, that's boring. They used to say that about Mayweather fights. But if you look at Mayweather fights, it was skillful. So just that kind of understanding that it takes 2 to tango, that's what makes a game interesting. Arsenal played Brentford recently. I'm sure a lot of people would have looked at that game and thought that was an interesting game. Why? Because Brentford came to the table to say, you know what? We're not just going to defend. We're going to move that ball. We're going to try and play on the break. We're going to try and use our outlets. And they did that. So it was an end-to-end game at moments. Acquiring the ability to now have set pieces as a thing to try and penetrate those low blocks that I mentioned. There's a reason why they have these corners. It's the way they play. They're very wing heavy in how they build up. So them always initiating in certain ways, trying to beat their man, trying to get crosses in, crosses are blocked, double up on, for example, Saka a lot of the time on the right. You have to find different ways to win. And I remember years ago, before Arteta, this was under Wenger, when Arsenal were not at that level. They used to say they don't have a plan B. They used to say they were pushovers. They've got plan B now. They're not pushovers now, and they're still an issue. So the only thing that will nullify the noise is to win. Arsenal, the club, the fans, the players, they know this. But what they've got to show is the mentality to win in those games that will be tight when it gets to the 7, 8 games left, 6 games left. And I think that's where you will be able to step up and show what level you are. And the players, individually need to be able to take that mentality and say, you know what? This is what we've got to do in those moments. Because Arsenal can go over a run. I remember 23-24. They went from January all the way to May. I believe they lost probably only one game. And one of the main games they lost was the Villa game. So they have the ability to go on a run, but they now need to go in games, those individual moments, and take the opportunity to create space, initiate passes forward. Because a lot of the time, the criticism is they can sometimes recycle the ball a lot. They can sometimes have to do a bit too much to be able to open the scoring or to score goals. And that's, yes, a result of the low blocks they face, but also sometimes Arsenal would like to, in my opinion, play it safe, because a lot of the time it seems they know they have to control the game under Arteta's sort of guidance, but they know that if they pass a certain way that's wrong, there's a chance that there's an attack based on your attempts to pass forward or your attempts to go in behind. But that's what it's going to take. The attempts, the risk to be able to say, you know what? I'm going to move into that space. The number 10, whoever it is on that day, whether it's an Odegaard, whether it's an Eze, whether it's Saka, who now, as you saw against Wigan, played in that position and showed something different. He showed that in behind running. The initiative to say, you know what? I see the movements. I'm going to make that move. That kind of running from a 10, I've not seen. Arsenal have players that play in positions differently. So if you have Odegaard, he will play it differently. Eze will play it differently. So what was showed in that game, for example, against Wigan in the FA Cup, was the potential to have players in newer positions that can give a new dynamic. And I think that's the key. Always finding solutions. And then on top of that, trust in those solutions to say, you know what? This is a team that we're going to be facing that has a low block or that has a good defensive structure in moments. How are we going to penetrate it? We're going to have to be always looking forward, taking initiative to make the chances by creating space, coming off the line, fullbacks going to the chalk a lot of the time on the right or the left, not always the wingers, because a lot of the time we see fullbacks inverted today. We see that with Arsenal, right? And sometimes the flair player is outside. Sometimes he needs to be in to affect the game more. You know, more interchange with what we saw against Wigan. Madueke, Saka. Being able to make runs in behind. Being able to take the ball, look. And as soon as I'm looking, I need to see the move. We saw that with Norgard. And Jesus. Now, we know Wigan are not a big team. We know Wigan are not in the Premier League. So the level is different. 100%. Not much, you may say, to take from it. But the point is the intention. This is what Arsenal need to show in games. This season, getting to the end. Arsenal will win games, they will drop points. But the point is, are they going to take the initiative and have that mentality to say, this is what we have to do to win? We have to take those chances and stop passing in front of each other. Because a lot of the time, you go back to the Brentford game. A lot of passes were in front of teams, in front of the players. There was not enough attempts to run in behind until Nketiah made that running behind, cross, Madueke goal. So it's going to have to take the mentality to say, in order to win, we're going to have to do certain things that are risky. But in order for us to win those games, those 4, 5, 6, 7 games left, there will be moments where that one or two persons in the team has to create space, make runs in behind, and the ball has to come. But the balls have to be confidently passed so you're not under hitting it or over hitting it. Because I've noticed sometimes if you're not confident to make certain, moves in the game, you're hesitant, you're going to make the passes incorrect. So you have to walk in every game with that mentality that I'm the guy, I'm the man, I'm the person, I'm the player, that this is what is required to do. We're going to make space. We're going to come out of the zones a little bit. Not just be bogged down in one or two areas, just waiting for the ball to feed. No, we're going to have to get the ball on in stride. So I'm going to always have to try and make that run off the line, down the line. The balls have to come. And Arsenal have the Rice, the Zubamendi, the Norgards. Those players have the capability to find the Trossards. They have the capability, but they have to think every day in their mind, this is what we need to do in order to win. so we can be a team that are not known as the nearly men. They should be known as the team that did, because there will be no point on going all these years and all this work that has been put into the team for nothing to show from it. Players need to have open body shapes in the way they are receiving the ball. Having an open body. If you know football, you know what that means. Being able to receive a ball a certain way to be able to pass it off. Not touching it, pass. Touching it at the back four or the back two a lot of the time when other Arsenal are in possession. Trying to build too many touches sometimes can be an issue. And I understand you're trying to invite the press so you can go in behind. But the point is, if that's not happening, you end up passing in front of teams. And sometimes you will see the first half where Arsenal sometimes are not as expansive or as daring in their passing. And in the second half, you see them sometimes wake up. Why is that? It's because Arteta has had to say things, but the players need to take that initiative. It shouldn't be that the whole half sometimes there's nothing of note taking place from initiated passes and movement. And then you go into the second half, you see a change because Arteta has said something. But the players always need to take initiative. That's what you're paid for, to obviously follow the directions, but also to take initiative when you see something, because players are the ones that see things on the pitch, or should see it. They see an opening, passes should go. There shouldn't be any hesitancy to look, which I've seen Arsenal players do, or players do. They look, see a pass, avoid it, and then go and play it diagonally, or what is considered safe. So there has to be moments where that mentality and that initiative changes, and that's what will be required to win leagues and trophies. The best teams do it over the years. The initiative, the choice to say, I'm going to do this. There's certain things that certain players of a certain level have done over the years that the manager didn't need to say, because they saw the opening. They saw, no, I'm going to go this way. No, I'm going the other way. So understanding those little moves that you see, for example, an Eze do whenever he's played, he needs to do more of those kinds of movements to say one way, nope, the other. But that's where the mentality has to be in a relaxed state. In a relaxed state, not overthinking it, not thinking, if I mess up, if I attempt this, we're going to lose the ball. You have to take that risk. But there has to be a calculated one, obviously. You're not just going to aimlessly pass it. There has to be that movement from the forward, making runs in behind, even if nothing comes. The attempt offsets defenders and makes people think. And this is where Arsenal, or any team that is trying to go for any trophies, need to look at it, because I've seen it from the best teams. They have a mentality that says, I'm trying to win, and these are the ways we're trying to do it. By initiating, taking initiative, and not just waiting for the manager to get into the halftime and give you direction again. Yes, you take direction, but you also have to take initiative, because the second halves from Arsenal particularly are the things that you sometimes see them trying to now wake up a bit more. No, get that first half underway, get people off, their square, get them in behind, attempt spaces, attempt to create space, attempt to create passes in behind, and you will see some form of unrest to the team you're facing. Obviously being positionally smart, so if there are any second balls, when you attempt that ball, you're quick to make the moves to try and get those second balls to restart your attacks again. So Arsenal are in a position where they can quiet the noise, they can quiet the narrative. All this stuff online, they can quiet it. But if they don't, it's on them. It will be embarrassing. Quite frankly, it will be. Arsenal know better. The players know that they have to do what they have to do for their, moment of them being in history. Arsenal have showed certain moments where they are free flowing, where they have the opportunity to create space themselves. Newcastle away, Burnley away, Fulham away, Tottenham home, Villa home. Moments where they showed that initiation themselves, where they were overloading in certain areas of the pitch themselves, because it was choices that were made. But that has to continually happen. Like I said, get into the end when they are still in this title race. Get into the end. It's good to do it earlier, It's good to do it with 12, 13, 14 games to go. When it gets to 10, 9, 8, 7, what are they going to be doing? And that's where that winner's mentality is not just a thing you say. It's what you do by your actions on the pitch, the initiated attempts of space creation coming out of the zones. And then on top of that, being able to understand the close relationship passing will continue and has to continue, but also making passes that are in behind based on the choices of players making those runs to say, you know what, I'm going to, because this is how we attempt to win. You cannot be safe trying to win trophies. You can be disciplined defensively, but to be safe in your passing, it doesn't work. It makes scoring harder. So that's what Arsenal, I believe, need to do. Be very clear every time they are playing, particularly in those first halves, to start with intent, to start with making space and making runs, to try and initiate against low blocks or against teams in general. Because to be able to win, you've got to do major things and you've got to make major decisions in, quick moments. So it'll be interesting to find out what people think. I think this video was mainly about Arsenal being able to take the opportunity to win on a consistent basis, but do things in the moments against teams who come to set up and say, you know what, we're not going to make it easy for you. Okay, cool. What are you going to do about it? But the key thing is having that calm mind to do what's required on the pitch and to take those chances to move in the ways that you should, because at the end of the day, that's how you win. There's nothing else. You cannot win hesitant. You have to win with that confidence every time you're on that pitch to create and try things. If it doesn't work out, you have to go again. Keep trying things on that pitch. But it'll be interesting to find out what people think. Like the video and let me know, how are Arsenal going to win trophies? And what do you think is required in terms of the mentality and obviously players on the pitch taking initiative?